The level that keeps on giving. Back in May 2020, I released a video titled Most Mysterious Extreme Demon in Geometry Dash, which gave details on a level named Element 111RG. It is the only former top 1 level in the game that was lost to time and ended up being forgotten until this video came out. Many have heard of the level today, and it remains as a very mysterious level with a story that has a lot of unanswered questions. Some examples would be how did the full level look like, how difficult was the entirety of the level, or what happened with the creator DarkX. It was established in the previous video that despite all of our efforts, the public level upload on Compendium is the furthest we would reach in terms of figuring out how the level looked like. However, ever since the release of the video and level, to our surprise a lot of new information has been found, and it even managed to suffice for yet another video for this level. This video won't be on Element 111RG only, but it will discuss some details that will be relevant to the level one way or another. And with that said, allow me to demonstrate more mystery that this forgotten level have. Before going into specific details, I also wanted to put in the effort and debunk information from the previous video that was incorrect. I did not expect to get everything right in that video, so here is me clearing it up. The first point is that the song for Element 111RG is not Electroman Adventures. The old Restoration Union team for unknown reasons came to the conclusion that the song for the level was Electroman Adventures, presumably just on the terms of the decoration at the intro of the level had 1.6 blocks. If we check the first image DarkX posted of the level, we can clearly see that the level already had nearly 6,000 objects in March 24th. What this means is that a big majority of the level was made in 1.5, not 1.6. Much like Silent Club with how the decoration is very different from the first half compared to the second half. The reason for DarkX change in decoration at just the start is most likely his efforts to have Rubtop want to rate it with his newly added features with the 1.6 release. It most likely is the reason as for why Rubtop rated the level to begin with. I know some of you are asking then, what could the song possibly be for the level? Well, it's what the previous video originally said was the level's first song, X-Step. Unlike Electroman Adventures, it was possible to figure out that this was the song. This was discovered through the usage of the one video existing of Bekid's auto. As the first video I made showed, the only things you can see in that video is the end of the auto, which demonstrates a ship transition and some basic block design. However, there are a few key details that are important to consider when looking at this still frame. Firstly, the wall at the end when you complete a level isn't fully on screen. For anyone that creates in this game, this is a pretty big hint to the fact that the player fell down from above into this ship portal. But the most important part of this is the amount of time it took for the first attempt to reach the ship portal. It showcases a total of 15 seconds during an entire attempt from start to finish. In the 1.5 version of this game, there are a total of 12 main level songs you can choose from. Only one of these sync to 15 seconds. And that is X-Step. However, due to how the BPM helpers are aligned in this image, which is an actual image of the level, we still cannot truly tell what song 111RG is using. None of the 12 main level songs align with what this image shows, so even the song this level used is a mystery. It is just safely assumed that the idea of X-Step being used as song didn't come out of thin air, so X-Step was the song that was chosen. It is now confirmed that Element 111RG was very likely released on 7th of April 2014, a week after Silent Club was released. The first hint of the level being released with an ID came from a post showing DarkX himself advertising the level to a reviewer named GW Unicorn. What this reviewer did was play through levels and discuss individual parts with images showcasing them. Unfortunately, this never happened with Element 111RG. On 10th of April 2014, the reviewer made a statement on how he was going to make a review on the level in the upcoming week. He also mentioned that almost everyone who played the level in practice or normal mode gave up trying to clear it. The secret way had not been found yet. 3 days later, he made another statement about the level on how it had been nerfed, both in the secret way and main path. The reviewer was, however, enthusiastic and wanted to give it a proper review. Unfortunately, this is where DarkX himself stepped in and cancelled the review request, stopping the possibility of getting a ton of images of the level. The comment from Rubtop that was flagged as spam is presumed to have been a comment saying that Rubtop would unrate the level if the level's secret ways weren't patched out and the main path was made easier. The dislikes presumably come from the fact that players could no longer get a free demon and had to deal with a way too hard level instead. This is backed up by the fact of this image, where Honor, or Bekid9442, as his GD username is today, stated on RubTub's support email that the level did not have a secret way or something or other. It is unknown what Bekid's full message was, but RubTub himself replied and apparently fixed the secret way, making it one of the few instances where RubTub fixes a secret way in a level himself. The comment saying this is most likely DarkX himself, quoting the response that RubTub gave Bekid. It is a bit peculiar to see an attachment from RubTub out of all people on a level like this one, blatantly using a secret way with a way too difficult main route. Obviously, only RubTub could say if more happened about this in detail, but as it currently stands, this is the only known interaction that DarkX and RubTub had personally. While the previous video mentioned that DarkX continued trying to make Element 112 to 118, but quit making them when being exposed with the secret way in 111RG, this is slightly incorrect. What actually happened was that GW Arco, the host of the entire Element series, ended up kicking DarkX out of the team entirely for making 111RG so difficult. The image showing Elements 116 to 118 is not by DarkX, but by a different creator well known back in the day, named Palin. Element 112 to 115 was taken over by yet another creator named Sundal. But as many know already, Element 112 to 118 was never made, and the two creators never finished the levels they were going to make. If you wish to play some of the levels Palin made, one of them is in the Demon Map Pack 9, named D-Days. With the most recent discoveries at hand for 111RG, saying that DarkX copied a lot from Silent Club is a bit dishonest. There are definitely sections made that look very similar to Silent Club when giving quick glances, but in most of 111RG's parts it managed to represent its own unique feeling. Given that most of the recreated gameplay is based off memory only, it is understandable that parts can feel reminiscent of Silent Club's parts. In reality though, all of the parts are uniquely designed and distinguished from copying Silent Club, as you will see in the second version of the restoration. There are more things that need to be cleared up, but they have deserved their own section as they require a more elaborate discussion, which will be presented later in the video. For now, let's begin showing off the new discoveries regarding DarkX's level Element 111RG. Upon the release of the first video about 111RG, a number of different players and creators began either confirming the accuracy of parts in the rebuild version, or mentioning gameplay parts that they remembered from the level. It was obvious from the start that the rebuild version of Element 111RG was nowhere near what the original looked like. Therefore, I was open to different interpretations of the level if there were other players that remembered different things. One creator that began showing a lot of gameplay they remembered was a creator named GW Sack. GW Sack, upon discussing with him, demonstrated a number of different gimmicks across cube, ball, and ship that he remembered seeing in 111RG. The validity of his words come from how he stated that he was inspired by some of 111RG's setups and used one of the ball gimmicks in his level, Leap of Mistrust. Specifically, this ball setup here close to the beginning of the level. For players today, this doesn't look very special at all. You can just hold when bouncing into the ceiling and be on your way, not having to deal with anything going on at all. Well, before the 1.8 update of the game showed up, the ball game mode worked very differently than it does today. In the earlier updates, the ball worked very similar to the cube. If the ball hit a ceiling, it would, much like the cube, instantly die. When taking that into account, this turns the part into a ball timing where the goal is to avoid the ceiling. A very interesting and unique gimmick. Given that there's proof of GW Sack's existence back when 111RG was still uploaded, and Leap of Mistrust has an ID lower than 1 million, his word is considered trustworthy. As a result, the other gimmicks given by him has been included, and some of them look like this, which is some of the most garbage and annoying looking setups I think I've ever seen. The ship gimmick in particular as seen here is probably the hardest ship gimmick I think I've ever touched, and I've never seen anything like it in this game. The gameplay demonstrated by GW Sack will be shown in the newly restored version of 111RG later in the video, implemented in their respective parts. Another discovery that puts certain gameplay sections in 111RG into perspective is that 111RG is not DarkX's only full level, as previously believed. Based on the level description, it is theorized that 111RG is DarkX's third level, each new creation meant to escalate in difficulty. If we assume that Element 112CN was meant to be DarkX's fourth level and even harder than 111RG, we can assume that there were 2 levels made before DarkX's breakthrough with 111RG. Restoration Union managed to find what is currently believed to be one of his first levels, named Theory of Clutter, in a DW post posted in 16th of February 2014. One thing that some of you will probably notice instantly is that the creator name is not DarkX, but DARKM, presumably a synonym for the term dark matter. So how will we know that this is a DarkX level? Well, the DW post in question is posted by the reviewer GW Unicorn, showing off a number of different images from the level. One of the comments in that post is from DarkX himself, and the way he speaks of the level seems to suggest that it is his own. It contains a few unique setups and parts, some of which are even gimmicks, hence the DarkX comparison as 111RG is filled with gimmicks and unique setups as well. So, you may ask, why is this relevant to 111RG? Well, if you take a quick glance on a few images of Theory of Clutter, it is possible to notice similarities of parts in comparison to 111RG. DarkX was desperate to make 111RG as difficult as possible, even if that meant buffing gameplay he has made previously in ways that an unexperienced player wouldn't understand or make something easy or hard. 111RG is a very unbalanced level, and it showed how little play knowledge DarkX possessed. With this level, Unnerd Stereodemoness and Silent Club being very similar to one another, this is the biggest difference between the three. Majako and Black Petrus Full understood what made a level difficult. DarkX with his inexperience did not. To a player that only creates and doesn't have a lot of playing experience, it would make sense that parts that might look intimidating at first glance for them becomes very undermining when someone with playing skill tries to play it themselves. While Theory of Clutter did not bring new gameplay forth for 111RG in itself, it did reinforce the existence of restored gameplay as part of the real level. The parts in question from 111RG are the 2 maze parts. In the first restored version, these 2 parts were originally rebuilt from players' memory who had originally played the real level, with Theory of Clutter presenting not only the same type of gameplay but same block design as well compared to memory-based restoration. It makes the existence of these 2 parts officially legitimate. As you will see later, Theory of Clutter has also changed a few aspects in these 2 parts in the newly restored version. With this said, here's a demonstration of a restored version of Theory of Clutter. Another fact that arises from further research into this level is the uncertainty of when this level was specifically removed. It was originally assumed that the level was deleted as soon as the level was unrated, which would be on the 15th of April 2014. But there are a few things that says this is incorrect. If you were to check the 1.6 version's texture files that contain every sprite in the game, you would notice that there are a few important buttons missing. The copy and delete button for an online level. The feature to be able to copy an online level also added the feature of being able to delete and upload a level as well, meaning that element 111RG couldn't have been deleted in April 2014. The earliest that the level could have been removed is with the release of 1.7, which is on the 27th of May 2014. There's one post on GW that discusses something they call Geometry Guinness Book of Records, mentioning Unnerd Stereodemoness and element 111RG together. The post is a comparison between the 2 levels and which level is the hardest out of the 2, where 111RG's unnerved version sits at the top. This post also mentions that at this point, 111RG has been deleted off the servers. This GW post was originally posted on 15th of August 2014, 8 days after 1.8 was released by Roguetop. This limits down the deletion date for the level happening between 27th of May to 15th of August 2014. This leaves the level in a state of limbo since there's at least 1 month after the unraid where the level could have been played until it was finally deleted. With this in mind, the possibility of more updates happening for the level across multiple updates suddenly doesn't seem far-fetched anymore. With the release of the first video of 111RG, one player named Geometry Dasher released 2 videos from 2014 showing off a level with the same name. It is unknown what this level and 2 videos truly are, but there are a lot of facts pointing to 2 theories. One theory is that in an effort to make 111RG relevant to RupTop one last time, DarkX very poorly and haphazardly updated the level with 1.8 features, typically slopes. With no attention being given to the level despite this, the level was finally deleted permanently, never to be seen again. Another theory is that this is potentially a separate level entirely, being one of the first remakes to be ever made in this game, trying to mimic the original version of 111RG. Unfortunately, with no data to confirm when 111RG was actually deleted, none of these theories can be proven. It does however paint a picture for the number of possibilities that could have occurred. For all we know, these videos might be what we're looking for. These videos right here could be the result of a real version of 111RG. The colors of the backgrounds line up perfectly with what the secret way in this level shows. The gameplay sections that Panka said he remembered correlates perfectly with what the 2 videos are showcasing. Despite all this, we unfortunately do not know. There's too many uncertainties. But to ensure this was not wasted, these 2 videos have been interpreted into the new restored version of the level, which will be showcased later. So, here we are. All the discoveries that have been brought up ensure that this new version of Element 111RG could happen, and I am way more pleased with this version than the first. It comes across as more natural, everything is put together in a more cohesive manner, and none of it appears out of place. So the biggest question that remains to be answered, what has been changed in this version of 111RG? Well, entire parts have been scrapped to fit on the parts displayed by Dasher and GWSAC, as well as new timings replacing older sections. The secret way now looks slightly different and longer, more accurately representing the original secret way, as well as being more broken. Song has been officially set to X-Step and the overall level is now shorter, now 1 minute and 20 seconds instead of 1 minute and 25 seconds. The final ball part in the level was completely scrapped as the comment from the player talking about this part was misinterpreted, hence now it has been corrected. To spare you of more intricate details, let's finish this video with showcasing the full version. And that concludes the end of this video. There are a few more things I want to mention, but I'm just going to briefly mention here at the end. Some may ask if anything happened to Aqua, and I can quickly state that his words are not considered true, his words were lies. Then secondly, if you wish to play this level, it's on the Compendium account. The version on Ox's account stole Compendium's version and is milking downloads and likes with it. So I'd rather you stick to Restoration Union's account, Compendium. This is very likely the definite conclusion to Element 111RG, and I thank Restoration Union and the community for making it possible. So I will see you all in the next video.